This is the Fit Mess, where together we learn to develop habits that help us live beyond our mental health struggles to create happier, healthier lives.
He's Zach. He lives in the future with his anxiety.
He's Jeremy, and he lives in the past with his depression. And we get together once a week in the present to share the obstacles we face and how we overcome them.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Jeremy, and this is the Fit Mess Podcast. Thanks so much for listening. 2 words come to mind as we start this episode. Relentless positivity. I would not use those words to describe myself. I am not a relentlessly positive person. That is not something I would say about me in any context pretty much ever. But those are 2 words that sometimes it takes to get over the hump, to get through the struggle, to get through whatever crap is in the way of you reaching your goals, accomplishing whatever it is you're trying to accomplish in your day, your hour, your life, whatever it is. This is something I need to try to do more of. I'm someone who, for months now, as I think about it out loud, have been dealing with chronic pain that has been a constant pain in my ass, in getting in the way of the things I want to do. I have discovered in ways that I never knew in my life for the last year how much I rely on physical activity to keep my depression at bay. And I have not been able to do it consistently and in a way that is as effective as it has been because of the pain. And, and that's the big obstacle. There's the little obstacles of, schedule gets in the way, life gets in the way, things get hard. You don't feel like it that day and you cave to that feeling. And so you beat yourself up and feel like, I can't believe I didn't do it. These are all the things that I'm kind of going through right now. And so much of it is rooted in this pain. And I haven't fully found the way around the pain to keep going in a way that's consistent, that meets my needs. But what's different about me now going through this versus me a few years ago is that I'm still trying. I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm still trying to move. I'm still trying to find the answer that I need to get through this. The old me would have felt the pain, sat on the couch, and given up, turned on the Xbox and started playing video games and drinking alcohol to numb the emotional pain and to just make the thoughts quiet down a little bit. So, I got that going for me, which is nice. Would I call it relentless positivity? No, I would not. But a guy who is relentlessly positive is a guy named Joe Martin, and that's literally the name of his podcast, Relentless Positivity. I found his show recently, started listening to it. He's a really fun interviewer. He's a really fun host. And as it turns out, a really fun guest because I had the opportunity to talk to him the other day. This is a guy who has been through some struggles himself. As a younger man, was a bigger man, and that led to a lot of problems, including depression issues and just, weight issues, injuries, things that hold most of us back, hold many of us back. I know they're the kinds of things that held me back and still do to some degree. But I really like what he's doing with the show, so I reached out to see if he had some time to talk with us about the things that he has found that allow him to have that relentless positivity, to stay focused on the good and to see past the bad and to not let the setbacks get in the way. And as it turns out, he said yes. So what you're going to hear in this conversation is why, so many of the quick fixes that you're probably looking for to solve your problems aren't real. They're just pure bullshit and are only going to slow your progress. We're going to talk about some of the things you hear us talk about a lot. And it's just the small, little, consistent actions over time that will lead to the kind of life you're trying to build. And you're going to find out why you may think you've done everything you need to do to accomplish your goals, but you probably haven't. That's all coming up, so stick around. My talk with Joe Martin right after this.
The mighty and resilient Merrimack River, carving through the communities of our great region. My name is Linda Lorden, proud president of Merrimack County Savings Bank. And like the river that serves as our namesake, we're a constant yet ever-changing presence. Because to us, it's bigger than banking. It's about powering communities and putting people first. It's about knowing where you came from and where you're going. That's Merrimack style. Visit us at themerrimack.com.
Okay, Joe, when this all started out, you're a heavy guy, you're depressed, you're injured, kind of a standard issue guy for a lot of people out there and probably a lot of people listening to this. What was life like for you in that place?
For me, it started off, I was a heavy guy because I was a football player. So it was good, right? If you're going to run into other fat guys, you should probably be pretty fat yourself.
You got to be a big guy. Yeah.
So I'm always trying to get bigger in high school, trying to get bigger and faster and stronger. I got bigger and fatter and stronger, but I got 2 out of 3, so that wasn't too bad. So, so I was an athlete, but then the injury comes along. I kind of lose my opportunity to play at the next level. That leads to kind of a little bit of, if I don't have football to focus on, I start getting in trouble. I go to jail. My girlfriend breaks up with me. I'm on probation. All these things kind of roll together, and just waking up every morning, looking at myself overweight. I don't like how I looked. I didn't look how I felt. And that weight was just a visual reminder that, just things had not gone well for me. That's where it all started. Just kind of got to the point where I was almost going to take my own life, that I didn't see a way out. I know you're familiar with this, that when you focus on the bad things that are just right there, you don't see all the good that surrounds you. And that's where I found myself in that position right there. I felt hopeless and didn't see where things were going to go from there. So that was kind of where I found myself.
And what was the switch that flipped? How did you decide there's got to be another way?
Man, I got to the point where, I'm a man of faith, and one thing I couldn't do that for that reason. And the other, what it would do to my parents. That was kind of the two things that kept me from doing that. So I said, well, if I'm not going to do that, then I got to make this work somehow. I started looking for one good thing in my life. I just realized, man, my family is amazing. It was such a great family. I grew up in a great family. So I figured I'd do something. And I just started by reading with food labels. It's kind of a tactical thing that, this was pre-internet. Kids, we didn't have all this information.
Right.
I've realized that, you can actually read what you put into your body each time and know, how much calories and all these things you're putting in there. And, oh, my gosh, I'm eating a bunch of junk all the time. Maybe I shouldn't do that. It just started with that one little thing and just snowballed from there.
Let's talk about that tactic, because it is, on the surface, it's simple, right? Read the label. What's on it? How many calories? How many am I burning? Do the math, and everything should work out in terms of weight loss and fitness, right? It's so much harder than that. It's hard to stick to that routine of write it down, track it, compare it. After 2 or 3 days, you don't get the instant gratification. You haven't lost 5 pounds just because you're doing math. How do you keep on that? How do you stick with that habit?
For me, it was also more about portion control. That I've realized that, even if you're eating the right things, if you're eating, broccoli and chicken, but if you're eating too many of those calories, you're still going to pack on the pounds. So realizing that, just because I'm eating one package does not mean that's one serving. So if I eat the whole thing, sure. I didn't know that. I'm from Alabama, man. We don't grow up, we don't care about calories. We just fry everything, right? It's a little bit different. They're a little bit different setup. So as for me, I knew I had a bigger picture in mind, that I knew if I was going to be consistent and stick with it, it would eventually happen, because I was losing a pound here, a pound there. I knew I was getting those small little victories, and I knew if I just keep compounding those, they would add up over time.
And that's something that spills over, right? You do that one thing and it starts getting you curious. Well, geez, if I'm losing 1 or 2 pounds here and there doing that, what else can I do? So what was another tactic that sort of started to snowball for you?
I started doing a little exercise. So I was in a cast. So that was my thing. I played football, a broken wrist for a couple of years, didn't get it fixed. Don't recommend that if you're thinking about doing that. So they had to take a bone out of my hip and fix my wrist. The bone in there had died. So I had to do all this. And so I was in a cast for 6 months with my thumbs up, by the way. So I was walking around with my thumb up. Everybody looked like I was hitchhiking.
You're Mr. Positive, walking around.
That's where it all started, man. That's where it all started. But if you just look like you're about to go hitchhiking all the time, it's not the greatest thing. But I started doing a few sit-ups and a few squats. Nothing complicated, nothing too crazy. But I've been doing workouts and stuff through football, but nothing in a while, because I kind of fell into that depression where I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to sit here and. Alcohol is my friend, not these weights. So, but then I just got started with
12-ounce curls. That's my home workout. 12-ounce curls.
Yeah, and I was having to do it with my left hand, so I was making. It was just those little things. It wasn't this crazy workout program where I was doing P90X or anything like that. It was just, hey, a few squats here, a few sit-ups here, and just, hey, now I feel a little bit better mentally, physically as well. It just, maybe I should do a little bit more. Maybe start walking a little bit, walk around the block. It's just all these little things. Like you said, it kind of snowballs.
And so where did that lead? What happened next?
Eventually, I lost 50 pounds, and I felt great. I was like, man, I would love to help other people get the same feeling. So I was just coming out of high school. I said, this is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to figure out how I can make my life where I help others feel like this. So I went and got an exercise physiology degree and got a job right out of college working in that field. And just the rest is history, man.
So this is, I can hear frustration from the listener right now, because they've heard count calories, exercise, move around a little bit, do some stuff, and it'll work. But it doesn't, because they do it for a couple weeks. They do it for a little while. They don't see those instant results. What are you teaching people? What did you learn from your experience? And maybe is there a story or two you can share of somebody you've worked with that you said, You know, they came to you with that story. I've tried it all. It doesn't work. Nothing's going to get me out of this funk. What can I do? Share a story of success with me.
Oh, that's a great question, because so many people have that I've tried everything. You know, I've tried everything. I have. And a lot of people, they've tried a lot of things, but they kind of jump around. They tried this for 2 weeks. They tried this for 3 weeks. They tried that for a month. I try to get people to have that fitness and health identity. This is who I am, and this is what I do. People talk about, I'm going to, I killed that workout and all that. 90% of the time, I'm going to lightly slap a workout. I'm not going to kill it. It was barely harmed within the workout, but I'm going to do that every day. I'm going to do something active every day. That's just who I am and what I do. I think kind of look at it, and I kind of look at, there's an old football coach named Bill Walsh, and his whole thing was the scoreboard takes care of itself. Now, don't worry about the scale for right now. It's a piece of the puzzle, but hey, are you feeling better? Are your pants fitting looser? Are you getting off your medications? Are you doing what you're supposed to? Are you drinking more water? Are you exercising outside of your workouts? Are you walking more? Are you moving around? Are you not just working out for 30, 45 minutes and you sit in front of your desk the rest of the day? Are you standing up every few minutes? So what are you doing outside of the workout? There's 23 other hours in a day. How's your sleep? How's your stress levels? How is a huge picture that goes into it outside of exercise and eating right that I think a lot of people skip. I just try to get them to get that. And this is a holistic approach we're going to take, because I mean, I know if you're stressed out, the weight's not going to come off. You're going to get hurt in the gym. All these things compound. It's all tied in together.
So many people approach weight loss or fitness really as punishment. I've done it wrong for too long. I need to lose this weight that's haunted me forever. I feel like crap. I better go do this. I better do that. It's not like I don't hear a lot, and I didn't for a long time feel like I want to feel better. What does it take, right? It was always, what's the end goal? What's the number on the scale that I want to achieve? What's the look that I want to have at the beach? Like these like goals that when you set them, if you don't hit them right away, for lack of a better word, it cripples your effort to get there. But if you can, and this has been the biggest change for me, perspective shift wise, when, I hit a pretty hard rock bottom almost a year ago, a few months shy of a year ago. Got together with a coach who just said, listen, all we're going to do, you got some time. Like I'd lost a job. I had some time. You're going to spend some time just in the gym, just moving your body, nothing serious. We're just going to go move around a little bit and get you moving. And this is someone who, I have battled depression my entire life. Going into the gym every day without the goal of, we're here to lose 20 pounds. I'm here to lift X amount on the bar. It was literally like, just go and do something for a while. Making that my daily goal. So instead of like in 6 months, I want to lose 50 pounds, it was go to the gym today. That's the goal every day. The end result now has been almost a year without a major depressive episode, body contour changing, like better attitude about life, more organized financially, more organized, better dad, better husband, like all the things that came along with my goal is to do this every day. That change is everything, because like you said, then the scoreboard it took care of itself because I did the work.
Yeah. The change is going to come. And sometimes it doesn't come, you drop 10 pounds here or 1 pound. It could be you're going nothing for a very long time. And then it seems like it just falls off. But I think people get so close to, that old story about you're 3 feet from gold or whatever that story is. You've been digging through this whole time. You're almost there and then you give up. We're all built a little bit different. The problem is when a husband and wife do the same program, and the husband, he quits drinking Cokes or something that. And then the wife, he loses 20 pounds. The wife loses nothing. And she might gain a few pounds. It's when you compare the comparison, that is a huge part for a lot of people. You see all your friends are losing weight. They're doing this, they're doing that. And then a lot of comparison is I hear this a lot. You probably do too. Hey, when I was 21, I did this and I lost weight. Oh, you're now 45. You've got 3 kids. You work a full-time job. You're running to Little League and doctor's appointments and all these things. You were in college at the height of your physicality. That's a whole other person. You do not need to compare that person with. So finding that what's working in your new normal and just being patient with yourself. The weight did not come on overnight. You didn't get into shape overnight. It's not going to go off over. It's not a short-term fix. And if you're looking for that, that's what I tell people. I'm not the guy for the short-term fix. Now I can help you with kind of a jump start and get these habits. If you've ever read that book, Atomic Habits by James Clear, the guys did the same thing. He went to the gym. He didn't do anything. He just went to the gym. And eventually it led to him losing 100 pounds. But he got in that habit of showing up every day. That's what you did. That's so hard. going from step 0 to 1 is the hardest step you'll take. And if you can do that,
100%.
man, you could really make some progress.
I did the same thing that he did. For the first week of my workout routine, I put on the calendar the days that I'm going to go. I didn't go the whole week. And at the end of the week, I looked back and said, what's your excuse? You had the time. Clearly you had the time. Look, it's right there. And then it literally was show up, walked over, opened the door, walked in, cool, did it, left. And then it turned into move a little, pick some stuff up, which leads me to my next question, because I hear this a lot too, is I don't know what to do. There's a gym full of 1,000 different things. I don't know what to do. What's right for me. I want to optimize my time. I don't want to waste my time lifting things that aren't going to get me there. I don't want to spend an hour on the treadmill if it's not going to actually do anything for me. How do I figure out what to do if I'm brand new to this?
That's great too, because you'll see so many people. If you go to any kind of gym, you'll see a lot of people wasting time in there. They're just kind of wandering around. They're drinking a lot of water. They're adjusting their gloves, maybe changing their songs or on their cell phone. They're in the gym though. Maybe they're doing our program where you just kind of hang out and keep showing up. But if you can go in there with a plan, I think so many people show up and just think the magic's going to happen when they walk in there. You'll kind of get lost, especially if there's all those crazy machines. You don't know how to work. I don't know what that one is. Do I go upside down on this one? How does this work? If you can just get a basic program, if you look up something called the primal patterns, it's basically the movements that you do in everyday life. So push, a pull, a squat, a hinge, those type of things. It's 7 exercises. If you can do that, that's an awesome start. It's going to be a full body program. It's going to be functional. It's going to carry over into your regular everyday life. It's going to work the large muscles in there. They're going to burn more calories and build more lean muscle. If you're looking for the easy button, just hit that. And then you can always add from there. Make that a habit. And then you can add on from there. Maybe you'll go up and you'll do 7 exercises and walk out of the gym. But man, you hit everything in there and you're going to be functional as well. Because, you get up in old age, like I'm almost 50, I'm getting there. So I no longer want to pick up 500 pounds, bench 300 pounds, all these things. Don't get me wrong. I'd take it. I would take it.
Sure. Yeah. Right.
I'll take it. But I also want to be pain free. I want to be able to, my son's 18. I got to try to keep up with that guy. I want to, be a great husband to my wife. But if I want to do something, I don't want my body to be the thing holding me back. If I'm going to just go for a walk around the block, I don't want to have back pain and knee pain and so many things that I see these people that were extreme lifting and doing these extreme sports back in the day. It's kind of coming back to pay for them now.
Speaking of the gym, we're spending a lot of time in the gym in this conversation. And I think a lot of the reason that people go there, particularly if it's something like CrossFit, is it's very community oriented. You're surrounding yourself with people that are kind of on the same mission. Some folks that are a little bit ahead of you, some folks are a little behind. How important is it to surround yourself with people that are, like-minded when it comes to fitness and health?
I think that's what kind of separates successful people from not. Just when you're not by yourself, it can be so tough. Accountability, whether it's just showing up for a friend group or a workout partner or a coach or something like that, I think it's key in the progress, because just like I talked about earlier, you're not going to show up super motivated every day. In a week's time, if you get in 4 workouts, if you're really motivated, one of them you may be really ready to roll. Especially if you work full time and you have a life, outside of the gym, it's tough. You're not going to be fired up every day to go in there. But if you just show up, that's when I tell my clients, just show up and the magic will happen. You just got to get there, even if you're just coming for your friends. But if you show up, you start moving your body a little bit, you start breaking a sweat, man, then everything just kind of fall into the workout from there. That's the biggest part. It's just showing up. If it's just you though, and no one knows you're coming to the gym, you're supposed to be there, probably not going to go.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to let yourself off the hook.
For
So, this is a mental health podcast. We're talking a lot about the physical health benefits. For me, that has been the best antidepressant I've ever taken is physical activity and exercising. How much of a difference has it made in your life? And tell me about some of the clients you work with and any transformations you've seen there from a mental health perspective.
Oh, absolutely. And for me personally, that's why I do something active every day. When I've kind of fall back into the depressive episodes, I look back and kind of do a little forensic check. Oh, guess what? I was drinking more. I was not sleeping. I was doing too much caffeine, taking in too much caffeine. I was stressed out. I wasn't exercising. I wasn't eating right. Some combination of those things will add up. And oh my gosh, I feel like the darkness is back, But I just tell my clients, hey, give yourself a fighting chance. It's not going to cure everything in your life or all these things, but man, if you are taking care of your health, you are in the best position possible to move forward with this. So I had a client one time that she'd suffered through depression her whole life, just from a little kid on. She just kind of felt like she didn't belong anywhere, didn't feel right. And we just got her into an exercise program around positive, supportive people every day. And it changed her life completely, where now it's like she's a new person. She's off of medication. She's showing up every day. She's completely changed her life. And there's nothing crazy magical we did, but she just showed up consistently, showed up for herself. She started adding these extra habits like I talked about, giving herself a fighting chance. I mean, it's a night and day difference. It's like people ask her, what are you doing? What's changed? What's different? It's just, taking care of her health kind of changed her chemistry in her body, and she just feels so much better.
I like that you acknowledge the slip, right? Like we all, especially somebody listening to a podcast, they're trying to get inspiration. They're trying to get motivation from people that have it figured out. I've got some things figured out. You've got some things figured out. I still struggle. I mean, every day there's a battle. There's stuff that doesn't get done, and it's hard. And you have to like not beat yourself up. Tell me a little bit about your struggle. Someone is seeing you right now as an expert. You're the guy on the hill pointing the way. How can we relate to you? What's the struggle you still face?
I mean, it's for me. I haven't felt like exercising in a long time, but I do it anyway. Just like I talked about, I've made it become my identity, and I don't put pressure on myself to go in there and lift the whole gym or be the biggest, fastest, strongest guy out there. I'm going to be the guy that shows up every day. I'm the glue guy. Like if I was on a sports team, I'm the glue guy, right? I got intangibles. I'm not the superstar. So I show up for myself. I'm going to get there and move my body around, break a sweat, and be around people, listen to music, all these things that kind of just make me feel better. Don't get me wrong, man. If I could wake up tomorrow with 6-pack abs, I would take it. Like I said,
right.
I would bench 500 pounds. I would do all those things, but I want to look decent enough, have good enough blood work, and be at a decent level. Look okay. Not to be.
Right.
I'm already bald, man. I can't be overweight again. I can't do that. That's why I grew a beard, man. If you're bald, you got to grow a beard. Otherwise, people think you have cancer or something.
You're over there playing aging bingo. Which square am I checking off?
Dude, speaking of that, totally off topic. I had to shave my nose the other day. Where are we going? What's happening, man?
Oh, the ears are next. Next.
I don't even care. They can stay. But man, it was like 3 of them. Oh, anyway, off topic. But yeah, it's just if you just keep showing up, show up for yourself. I believe in having goals. There's goals that sometimes I'll get back on. I'll do a 6-week challenge with myself to try and tighten some things up. But man, but that ruins you. Like some people, type A people, they'll do that and they'll have one slip up and they'll scrap the whole plan. So I see that with a lot of the clients that I work with, and just tell them, hey, don't let a slip become a fall. You're gonna mess up. It's gonna happen. There's gonna be a day you miss a workout or you don't eat like you want to. What you do next is the most important step next. Because you just get back, hey, you do something weird and just start again. Start with the next workout. Start with the next meal. It's okay. We're all going to mess up. And it's fine. I work with a lot of women, and guilt is a huge thing with them, especially with food. So if we can just kind of take guilt out of it, there's no like judgment foods out there. There's no like, it's not a moral decision whether you eat pizza or blueberries, right?
Right.
If you can just take that out of it and it's information. Like I do nutrition and accountability coaching, and it's like this is just me gathering information and just figuring out how we can get you to where you want to go. Because I do this stuff too. I mess up all the time too, and it's okay. So we build that 80-20 rule in there that 80% of the time we're going to try to be compliant to this program. The other 20%, you can go have Snickers and cake and whatever you want, man, and do it guilt free. And when you have a slip up, just like I like to do with mine is that kind of forensic check. Well, why did this happen? What was the circumstances leading up to this? How can we avoid it next time? Just don't ever take a loss without a lesson. I used to have a coach that said that. If it happens, it's okay. Let's see what happened and how we can avoid it next time.
Yep. Yeah. Self-compassion is a huge part of this. That's something I have to do with injuries. I've got like these 3 different chronic pain things going on all the time. And, I'm sort of back to a new gym routine now, and I've lifted a little too heavy and pulled some things. And rather than, sort of falling into the old habit I had that was, well, I guess I better sit around for a couple of weeks until this doesn't hurt anymore. And a couple of weeks turns into 6 months. Yeah. It's, what else can I do? If I can't lift something heavy on the bar, can I go for a long walk? Can I go take a hike? Can I go out on the lake and swim? Like you're just looking for, okay, I can't, I didn't, whatever. That doesn't stop me from what's next. That doesn't stop me from taking that next step. And there's just, for all of us, especially if you go into this journey with, I've been so bad, I need to punish myself. Any slip is going to just amplify that message of I suck. This is not for me. This is for other people. And the more that you can just go, oops, oh, well, what's next? It just gets you back on track so much faster. Yeah.
I think if you go into the program, that's kind of going a little bit deeper, but if you go into the program expecting to fail, or like if you go on a program, you're trying to lose weight and you tell me, well, weight loss is hard, you're probably not going to make it. Because anytime a slip comes, see, I told you weight loss is hard because stuff like this happens.
Yep.
But, if maybe it's challenging, but I can do this. If you just kind of add something on there where you go in there with that mindset, because it all feeds into the same loop, because you get that evidence. Oh, look, see, weight loss is hard. This happens to me every time, or something like that. Those kind of self-defeating attitudes that, it's going to become your reality. So if you got to kind of pump yourself up, be like Stuart Smalley back in the day, if you're old enough to remember him, give those. That's a cheesy way to look at it, but man, that stuff works.
Yeah. Yeah. You really literally trick your brain into believing your own bullshit and and figuring out a way forward. Real quickly, we have a couple minutes left. I know you mentioned you work with women. You spend some time with kids too. You help kids with some of this stuff. Tell me a little bit about the issues that kids face and how to get them on track to take good care of their physical and mental health.
Absolutely. Well, I started working with kids because I saw this stat that the second leading cause of death for 10 to 14-year-olds is suicide. And the number one leading cause of death for 13 and 14-year-olds is suicide. And that just didn't sit with me, man. I knew I had to do something about that. I didn't know what. I'm not a therapist, not a doctor, but I'm a fitness guy. So I thought about, hey, we have these one-on-one mentoring sessions, 30 minutes. It's fitness training on the top side, but that's just kind of get them to open up to me so we can talk about some things going on. My kids are having some tough times. Bullying, when we were growing up, at 3 o'clock, you got to go home and the bullying was over. Yeah. Now with the cell phones, the computers, the bullying goes on 24/7, 365. Some dude in Denmark can be bullying you that you don't even know. Right? I mean, it's terrible. And then I think some of these keep, and then also we get back to the comparison trap. You see that everybody else is having fun on social media or doing these things, and you could never be like that. And when they're that age, you can only see so far in front of you. You'd think that, I just wrote a book called "You're Not Who You're Going to Be," because that's what kids think, that, I'm stuck at this, who I am at 11, 12 years old. I coach middle school football, and you'll see a kid that's 200 pounds, he's jacked, he's got a mustache, six-pack abs, he's 13, 14 years old, right next to the same year old, this kid, same grade, same age, he'll be 50 pounds, and his voice will sound squeaky, and but the other kid's kind of tapped out, right? That kid's probably who he's going to be physically, but this 50, 60-pound kid, you never know. This kid's got so much learning and growing to do that he's not stuck right there. So I think a lot of kids think that. So just helping them get that long-term view of life that so many kids don't have, and dealing with the bullying issues and body images and just making healthy choices meal-wise and things like that. Just kind of just feeding into them and just show them, hey, man, people care about you, because we're losing way too many kids.
Way too many. Yeah, it's heartbreaking. You mentioned the book. I want to ask you where to get that, but also just, as we wrap things up here, anybody who's been hearing this and on the beginning side of this journey, they've come to us to try to motivate some action. What are some sort of closing thoughts you have for that person listening?
I think for someone, I think they also get overwhelmed with, I have so much weight to lose. I have so far to go fitness wise. Could you do a 5-minute workout today? Could you go for a 5-minute walk, a 1-minute walk? Like we talked about earlier, starting is the hardest part. And I think if you get overwhelmed by the big picture, it's going to crush you, right? So just think about that 5 minutes. And usually I think you'll find if you do that 1 minute, if you do that 5 minutes, you're ready to go minute 6, 7, 8, 9. You're oh my gosh, I've been walking for 30 minutes. But I think if you can just get from that one little step, 0 to 1, and just get started and then make that a habit. Don't think you have to add in. Don't be the person on New Year's who's eating broccoli and chicken every meal or working out for 2 hours and then they're done by week 1, right? It's a long-term deal. Think about it, take about it small, and do that snowball effect like we talked about, that, hey, this week I'm starting to exercise. Oh, I kind of made this a habit. Let me add in a little nutrition thing right here. And maybe I'll start doing a little stretching at night or something like that. But don't think you have to do it all overnight, and just stick with it, and the magic will happen.
What didn't you do yesterday that you can do today? And that just snowballs. And
that's awesome. Yeah.
Many bigger and better things. Awesome. Where can we learn more about you, the book, and take you up on your services?
Fitandpositive.com is kind of the hub for everything. You can see the book on there, the mentoring program. You can also pick the book up on Amazon. You're Not Who You're Going to Be. And if you got kids in your life right now, and if you just need them to come talk to somebody, you can find my contact information. Sometimes if they just want to text or call or email or something like that, I'm on a mission. I'm trying to save some kids out there. So whatever I can do to help you out on that. And if you know parents or coaches or teachers that want that book and they don't feel like buying it, let me know. I'll send them a copy.
Amazing. Good stuff. I'll have all that in the show notes for the episode. Joe, thanks so much for doing this. Appreciate your time. And let's keep in touch and see what we can do to help impact a lot of people's lives.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for having me on. And if everybody on here is listening, first of all, go give him a 5-star review for his logo alone. Deadlifting donut, man. That thing is amazing. And then go to the website and buy you a T-shirt with that logo on it. That's a sweet shirt right there.
Awesome, man. I appreciate that.
Okay, it's official. We are very much in the final sprint to Election Day. And face it, between debates, polling releases, even court appearances, it can feel exhausting, even impossible to keep up with. I'm Brad Milkey. I'm the host of Start Here, the daily podcast from ABC News. And every morning, my team and I get you caught up on the day's news in a quick, straightforward way that's easy to understand, with just enough context so you can listen, get it, and go on with your day. So, kickstart your morning. Start smart with Start Here and ABC News, because staying informed shouldn't feel overwhelming.
That was the always fun to talk to and relentlessly positive Joe Martin. Again, the name of his podcast is Relentless Positivity. The link to that and other ways to get in touch with him are in the show notes for this episode at thefitmess.com. Thank you for hanging out with us for a little bit today. I hope you have found some inspiration. I hope this motivates you to keep going, even when those little setbacks, those nagging injuries, the chronic pain, whatever it is that's slowing you down, you got to find a way to fight through it. And it's most likely just some small, simple thing that you can do today that you didn't do yesterday. And quickly before we go, if you have found any value in this conversation today, please do share it with somebody who could benefit from hearing it, whether that's sharing it on social media, emailing it to somebody, or just going to our website and sharing it from there. Really means a lot and helps us spread the word so that more people can find the kind of inspiration and motivation they need from content like this. So thank you again for your time. We'll be back in just a few days with another episode at thefitmess.com. See you then.
We know this podcast is amazing and it doesn't seem to lack anything, but we need a legal disclaimer. Prior to implementing anything discussed in this podcast, it is your responsibility to conduct your own research and consult your physician. You should assume that Jeremy and Zach don't know what they're talking about, and they're not liable for any physical or emotional issues that occur directly or indirectly from listening to this podcast.